This is Pod Populi.
Podcast for the people.
The Great Love Debate. It's the Great Love Debate.
The Great Love Debate. It's the Great Love Debate.
Hi again, everyone. It's Brian Howie. Welcome to the Great Love Debate, the world's number one dating and relationship podcast since 2015. I am here in the very fine and fancy studios of Pod Populi, Podcast for the People. I am at the one in Greenwich, Connecticut, and I used to live here. I think I like it better here now. So I know I always say that what I'm giving you on this show is opinion, not advice, and certainly not expertise. I'm not sure there is such a thing as dating expertise. And a lot of you guys, when I say that, you take issue with that. You're like, well, I don't know. I listened to your show. Sounds an awful lot like advice and expertise. It's not. So why is it not? Maybe that's my disclaimer. Oh, it's just opinion. Do with my opinion whatever you like. Take it or leave it. Gives me a little bit of distance from it. It also gives me an out because I'm uncomfortable with the idea of giving advice on this. But I will say this. It is very, very well-informed opinion. Travel the world. I've raised the questions. I've seeked the answers. And I think we have a lot of them. I'm out there, and I notice things. And because I notice things, and I try, as best as I can to absorb the info and the data and the stimuli to such an extent that my ability to opine does tend to resonate. And I will say this, I love giving opinion. I do. And I love hearing opinion coming back to me from you guys. This is the Great Love Debate, so there should be that give and take. But today what I'm going to give you, it's not necessarily opinion. It's more of a whole bunch of observation. And let me tell you what I'm observing that is so disturbing to me. So I travel a lot. I travel the country a lot. And I spend a lot of that time alone. And I spend a lot of that time eating meals alone, which I don't mind at all. It's quiet time. Me and my food is quite the match made in heaven. So I'm good. And I'm not eating at Wendy's, but I'm also not eating at, Michelin 5-star establishments either. That would be weird and kind of sad to fly solo at one of those places. So I'm eating a lot of dinners at sort of middle of the road gastro-pubby type places. Maybe a step above Applebee's. And there ain't nothing wrong with Applebee's. Fancy like, Anyway, the kinds of places I'm eating a whole lot of meals at are the kind of places that there's a whole lot of dates going on. And mostly a whole lot of first dates going on. And I got to say this from observing all this. Maybe you think the dating pool is bad and there's this film of green algae floating all over it and there's a broken filter and there's not nearly enough chlorine brightening that pool. But that pool isn't empty. Not by any means. There's a lot of people in that pool. But what you're doing is wasting those people in that pool. Because the dates that I'm seeing, what's going on, him and her with a spinach artichoke dick, it's absolutely brutal. It's brutal to watch. You guys, the daters, and some of you are not daters, you're just other casual observers. The daters out there, you are dead-eyed, checked out, bored to death. And we have almost completely lost the ability to engage societally on this. But we are totally lost one-on-one. It's always been amusing / uncomfortable to watch two people on a first date. But, you'd always kind of notice that nervous energy and that, the uncomfortable giggle. And you thought, well, that might lead to a spark. I'm going to watch that. What is going on right now, 2024, is not that. This is not uncomfortable. This is downright painful. And I see it everywhere, every city, every restaurant, every encounter looks the same. And so now I get why people are not so into dating anymore. The dating itself, the act of it, my God, what are you doing? And how did we get to this place? So this and that and how we can do better, that's what I have to get into today. So I have to take a quick early break because we have to pay for those Bourbon Street shakes and steaks and Oreo shakes. Is that right? Bourbon Street steaks and Oreo shakes around here. So we will be back right after this. And we are back. So I'm going to put this on firstly on the guys and then mostly on the guys. And guys, your job on a first date, at least until the dessert comes, and that dessert's going to do a whole lot of heavy lifting for you. Your job is to make her smile and make her laugh. That's it. And you might say, well, Brian, you always say that it's really important to make her think. Trust me, she is already thinking on this date, and she's probably overthinking way too much and way too early. She can get to the thinking part later. You've got to distract her into a state of contentment and comfort. And hopefully by the time that the tapas comes, you are in a state bordering on bliss. And so you're like, does that mean, card tricks and funny faces? No, doesn't mean that. And I get it. Comfortable banter, and interesting conversation. It's not that easy to achieve with anyone. On a date when there's, sexual chemistry or sitting on a park bench, it's hard with probably a stranger to get there. But that is everyone's goal. It's not easy to achieve, but that's the goal. And not everybody is clever and witty, and not everybody is charming and entertaining. I understand that too. But if you're coming at her with, so what do you like to do when you're not working? Or have you seen anything good on Netflix that you would recommend? You are dead in the water. And all of the water has drained out of the dating pool for her. Because you're not going to be more enjoyable than her Labradoodle. And anything she has found that's good on Netflix is going to be preferable alternative to you. So you come into the conversation without creativity or imagination. This date is going down fast. And this is the date I'm seeing night after night everywhere. And overall, not to give everybody an out, it's not just a dating problem or a guy problem. This is an everyone problem in America right now. From 6-year-olds to senior citizens, we are so collectively checked out and or distracted. Nobody is present in a moment, and nobody is present on a date or with someone new. You already, going back a decade or two, were going into dates completely distracted by random thoughts. But usually those thoughts were about the date itself. Does my hair look okay? Do I have anything in my teeth? When she touched my arm, did that mean something? Those were distracted thoughts that were related to what you were doing right there. But now it's, how can I check my phone without them noticing? Or it's, did that other guy get back to me yet? Did I remember to schedule that spin class? Like, that's what's happening. You're going into something that should take, at worst, 90% of your focus and maybe, the occasional thoughts creeping in, but you're going into it now with 10% of your bandwidth being contributed to it. And the energy is nowhere that it needs to be. And that's what I'm observing all over the place. Dead-eyed daters in lifeless restaurants. And, maybe it's none of my business, but it drives me nuts. You've done the hard part. You have sifted through the online and offline choices, and you actually made plans, and you showed up, and the two of you were there together. And that absolutely is a big part of the hard part. Finding somebody you might want is a long, long way down the road to something. And you are wasting that shot at something by going into this date with absolutely nothing. And, you guys have heard us say over and over on this podcast, and definitely we say it every night at our live shows, that 85% of first dates are one of three things. They are coffee, they are drinks, or they are dinner. And I always say those are, not only are they not great dates, they're all essentially interview style dates. And to take it a step further, they're all essentially prison visitation style dates. You are essentially sitting there with a metaphorical pane of glass between you as you mutter questions at them. Not good dates. Coffee isn't even an attempt at a date. It's more of a business meeting. So throw those out altogether. You want 15 minutes with a low price point? Go get ice cream. It's fun. Anyway, so we always recommend, if you're going to go on a date, to do something other than coffee, dinner, drinks. Those prison visitations, don't do them. We tell people to do an activity, play miniature golf, or take a class, or play a game, or something that is going to spark personality and interaction beyond, what do you like to do when you're not working? But, we're not going to win every battle. No matter how many times we say this, people still want to do dinner or drinks. I get it. It's simple. You got to eat. Although, believe me, asking a girl out to dinner in Los Angeles is absolutely fraught with peril on just choosing the food. But that's a different show. And most likely, you got to drink. And that's another part of the problem. People are already showing up on dates and in the world, and even at work, medicated, intoxicated, whatever, before the initial interaction even kicks in and gives you a chance to get it somewhere good. Have you ever ridden in a car, in the front seat of a car with kids in the back, and you try and ask them something, and they're on their iPad, and at best you get back a, yeah, huh? And it's a struggle to have any sort of conversation with them. You're not turned around, and you're not. That's what I'm seeing on these dates. That's the disjointed, disconnected back and forth that isn't going back and forth. It's brutal. They're not sitcom or rom-com situations. They are dead serious dramas without a satisfying plot. And there's no connection. And so the next night, for her and possibly him, it's back to Netflix, and you're both climbing out of the dating pool altogether. So I see it, I get it, and I'm not sure if I have the inclination or the ability to change it. That's why I guess it's simply being an observation. It sucks, and bottom line is you are boring me, and you are certainly boring your dates. So I don't want to look up from my chicken quesadilla and see your date looking at the door. I don't want to see him slyly checking on his phone looking for the Celtics score. I kind of want to see complete engagement. And by engagement, I don't mean down on one knee in the middle of a Capitol grill. I mean watching her eyes sparkle and her face react and the corners of her mouth curl a little and her, engaging with what you are saying or asking with some degree of excitement and joy and hope. He might have something. This might be something. This might lead somewhere. And we're going to get that Oreo shake. 2 straws, 1 check, girl, I got you. That's it. That's the goal. And we don't seem to be getting there. So I guess bottom line, I'm watching you and you're boring me. So you are certainly boring them. And not only boring me, I'm just like, this is terrible. It just feels bad, and a date should not feel bad. A date should feel fantastic because a date is filled with possibilities. So be better, date better, find the banter. And to do that, I think you got to think harder. I think you got to go deeper. I think you got to get a little crazier. Find your inner imp. Because there's definitely enough people in the dating pool. And there's definitely enough quality opportunities. And you are wasting them. So check back in with them. And then I will check back in with you next time I see something that inspired some change. Perhaps another bout of opinion on this. So shoot me an email, greatlovedebate@gmail.com. If you differ, which I doubt you do, if you have found a solution to the dead-eye dating problem, or if you're like, you know what, I went through that and I'm checked out, we'll try and check you back in. We'll give you an early check back in. Please, 10 years of doing this, it still matters. Like, share, follow, review this podcast. We have lots and lots of reviews, even the bad ones. I like them. I like the interaction, and so does Apple and Spotify and all the rest. Because, as always, at The Great Love Debate, we never stop making love. See you next time.
The Great Love Debate. It's the Great Love Debate.